So today talk will be about a minimum level product. Uh, for the beginning, let's give it a little bit more context. So as you can see, the lovable version is on the most of the right side, but before in the product life cycle, there are different stages. So you are pretty familiar with MVP, right? There is also MTP version. So let's check that more closely. And if we are talking about minimal testable product, uh, those serve for validation of the core product idea. Usually you would like to receive the feedback as soon as possible, the first feedback, and you are really focusing on the core idea. So if I can give you some example, there are some features which are like side features. For example, the paying with the credit cards or other payments. You can also implement single sign-on login, which simplify the logging into the application. But those are really side features. And in this phase, we will like focus just on that core product idea. We will like validate it. So that will be implemented later on. If we would like be even more agile, we can talk about minimum testable feature, which could be, for example, Epic. And honestly, in Salsita, we are pretty great with that. We have releases also on the PR level. So yeah, we are doing great, really great in this stage. If you are talking about MVP, then this is often considered as great enough to launch a product. In real example, when I was talking about the bank payments and single sign-on login, those features could be showstoppers. So we would like definitely include them into the MVP version. And the whole purpose is make the product which kind of has potential to succeed. And the effort is not high, so we are focusing just on that core. Well, and there is something beyond, and that's kind of minimal lovable product. It represents the minimum that is required for users to add our product. We are in a stage when we know what we are building, so that MVP phase is finished. And right now we are focusing on the nice-to-have things which cause aha or wow moments. By the way, it releases dopamine, so people for sure loves it. And yeah, the question is how to achieve it. Well, it's pretty simple. It's good enough to have just the radar for the crazy ideas and have a balls to give it a try. And especially if something is very easy to do and if it's also in the same time cool, then we definitely want to have it in minimal lovable product. So right now, my favorite part with the examples. Okay, sorry everyone else, but right now imagine that you are developers and how developers can contribute to minimal lovable product. Yeah, this is one example from Salsita. When we was doing Kilo for first time, we was focusing on just the bare minimum. We was really focusing on that MVP version, but in the time, I guess Honza Bartuniak and Jiří Staniševský, they came with this idea of disassemble the Kilo furniture because we had everything on a place and it was very simple to do. So we just added into configurator, and that specific feature, that was just the beginning, but it's kind of lovely. We can hear like really positive feedback on that. What is this? Yeah, this is about multiplier. So, for instance, with Google in their Google Docs, widely adopt the multicursor and also other multiplier, for example, for the whiteboard. And this feature is really lovely. And for instance, Figma use it as a main killer feature because it allows the designers to collaborate kind of nicely on the design. So those kind of features are really part of the really good candidates for minimal lovable product. Okay, what is here? Look on that. We have some browser. There is some URL which is changing for every click, and there are some nice animation between the pages. I will play that again. Sorry for that. And all of this is about the new View Transition API, which is pretty new thing. and you can achieve this kind of complex routing between the pages with very easy way because it's supported by the browser right now. So that's potential candidate how to make the things nicer, and it could be also widely adapted within Salsita. So from the developer standpoint, please look on the low-hanging fruits which are like around, and in case that new technology appears, try to be early adopters and find new use cases. For instance, chat interfaces that could be like really the thing which can be cool, especially on the beginning when it's not like widely adopted. So those kind of things we would like definitely to have in Minimum Lovable Product. Okay, right now we are UI developers. So what is here? Yeah, this is a website called Uplifting. And yeah, you like see something on the website, but you realize, what is that yellow thingy on the background? Okay, it's some 3D model. Oh my God, it also like follow your cursor. So it doesn't need to be there, honestly, but that's exactly the thing which sparks some curiosity. You most likely spend a couple of seconds to exploring like how it works, the physics behind, and so on. So that's really nice thing, which is also a candidate for MLP. Another example could be really nice animations. So if you are a UI developer, you have definitely way richer options to animate things than designers, because if we are talking about Vima is very shitty for animations, and you can compare it with the possibilities what you have in CSS, SVGs. There are different filters. You can script those animations. So those give you pretty wide variety of the possibilities. So you can for sure use animations, 3D, parallax, transition between state and pages. Well, your role overlap with motion designers. We don't have this role dedicated yet, but there is nothing wrong to be a multi-role person. And yeah, especially if we are talking about the animations, you can build, for example, animation language, because you realize there are some differences between, for example, simple easing and bounds. So each of those feel differently. Bounds is more playful, but if it's like overly used, it could look more childish. So there are some things which could be explored. And as a UI developer, you should be aware about it. Fine, right now I'm curious on UX designers, what they can do. Most likely, UX designers looks for the simple flows, and they would like to choose appropriate complexity to save user time, because there are for sure differences between a beginner and power users. So we don't want to waste with the user time. They also care about users in cases that they would like provide some feedback and also offer some actions. And if we are talking about e-commerce, if UX designers is a good storyteller, there's definitely a benefit. And if we are talking about gamification, that's completely like different level of engagement. So those part could be also included into our process. What is here? Oh yeah, you will like borrow some money. You have, for instance, option to, okay, I will play it again. You can place there two inputs, like the borrowed amount and the number of the years, but that's kind of hard to explore, like the combination and how the total will change. So if you, for example, choose this approach as a UX designer, you give the users very simple tool how to explore all of those possibilities. Another example, when I talk about the feedback, about the visual feedback, so if you would like to purchase something, you click on the confirm purchase button, you will like see that we usually use those messages, or we are writing in our messages. That's a really nice way how to provide that feedback to user. In ideal case, the interaction between you and the application should be as a dialogue. So, for example, if I do something with the app should interact, and that should be something like a communication between you and the app. That's the ideal case, yeah, for sure. What is this? You probably know that it appears in a Chrome when you lost the internet connection. And there are for sure some advices what you can do, but the game, it doesn't need to be there, honestly, but if it's there, yeah, it's something which is really cute. You most likely don't want to play it like for a whole day, but at least for first time, you can try it. And that's exactly the thing, what makes that product lovable. Right now, all of us, we are visual designers. And what can we do as a visual designers? Yes, there are some ideas, for example, for the toggle between light and dark mode. We can make that toggle just ordinary or make it a little bit more cool. Another example could be like this flow. For instance, we receive some pretty boring wireframes from UX designers, right? And we would like make it nice, so we can use some icons for it. But the idea with the plain window is really cool. So those kind of things which illustrate the process, the main flow, and make the whole flow even nicer, those are very vital. Okay, all of those things like alignment, contrast, movement, also white space is pretty important. Those are the things what visual designers trying to master. And once you use that kind of in consistent way, it creates style. That's pretty important. I would like to talk about it later. And there is another thing, perception of the beauty also releases dopamine. Yeah, there is, for example, art therapy, and that's the reason why people like art. And there is one rule behind it. If you do something really nicely and if it looks beautiful, the people tends to overlook some other thingies, other glitches there and there. So basically, if something looks visually very nicely, then it can save your ass on the other places. Right? What is this? Yeah, that's the example of the logical game. It's 7 years old, called Samoros. And yeah, you step a little bit on the side from our application. And it's such a good example of the thing how how the creativity and art can sell or can be like can succeed between like thousands of different logical games. This is a real masterpiece, and also the soundtrack is pretty awesome. So yeah, this is really work of art, this game. When we talk about styles, for instance, the Kilo, there are like thousands of different companies which produce some furniture, but Kilo has unique style. That's the main differentiator. Yeah. Also, Latelier Paris. If you would like buy the kitchen range, there are thousands of companies who provide it, but the push style, that's kind of typical for Latelier, and style is really important aspect of what visual designers can influence. Great example could be those. If we look onto those, yeah, those guys, they love surfboards, they like motorbikes, they like to do things custom, and for them the ideas behind is instead of the winning, have more fun, having more joy, and based on those ideas, they kind of created their style. And if you, for example, visit Bali, especially Canggu, you cannot overlook those people who are influenced by this brand. And if style is so strong, they become as a lifestyle. So for those, it's exactly their influence, the whole generation of people just living in some certain place, and they make something really cool. Okay, the next one. Yeah, you maybe noticed that picture from the beginning. That's exactly the Deus style. And right now, imagine that you are a fish designer, and look on those cool peppers. That's what Ahmad made for our configurator website, and we have 3D models of those 3 chili peppers. And Ahmad came with those idea to make it cool. And for example, what happened if you add sunglasses to the chili pepper? The chili pepper immediately get character, and once something get character, there is some relationship between you and the chili pepper, because right now it looks like some person. It has personality, and that's exactly the thing which you would like to have in minimal lovable product. So Ahmad just the perfect example of like things which are lovable. Okay, finally we are coming to the end. And right now, imagine that you are a product owner. How can you support minimal lovable product? Yeah, once you pass that stage with the MVP and you know like what you would like to build, try to focus on those crazy ideas and select some of them for the development. Yeah, it's fine to have like the ordinary MVP, especially if the idea is unique. No one else solved that user problem. Then that MVP is probably good enough. But usually we are somewhere where it's a strong competitive landscape, and we would like to provide some additional value. And that's exactly the thing what MVP can offer. If you look on the marketing view, then adorable products sell themselves. There is some magic behind. Yeah, if you, for example, like something, you would like recommend it to someone else. Yeah, we are just humans, so imagine yourself. Yeah, if you discover something pretty cool, you would like share that. So the question is, who can give you the best promo? For sure, make them happy. And that's it for today. So, any questions?